Top 10 horror movies releasing in April 2023. We've already established that 2023 will be a fantastic delight for every horror movie fan out there. That brings us to today's list, which is packed with some genuine scares, and to give you all a reminder that this month of April is going to be all about horror, thrills, and chills. Here are the top 10 horror flicks that we are very excited about this month. Be it monsters, vampires, or demonic possession for that matter, please know that there will certainly be something that you fancy in our list today. Are you ready? Let's dive right into the video then. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. The Pope's Exorcist, 7th of April. Imagine what could happen if the devil possessed the soul of the Pope's exorcist. Well, if you happen to be someone who enjoys religious horror and it's into Academy Award winner Russell Crowe, then you have every reason to like this gripping tale of an intriguing real-life character. Julius Avery's supernatural horror flick not only stars Crowe in a horror movie, and for the first time may we add, but the film is also based on the real files of Father Gabriel Amorth, the chief exorcist of the Vatican. Amorth was an Italian Catholic priest who's alleged to have executed a countless number of exorcisms during his 30-year stint as the head exorcist of the Diocese of Rome. Boasting a screenplay of Michael Petroni and Ivan Spilotopoulos, The Pope's Exorcist is back with a strong source material. We are explicitly referring to two of Amorth's memoirs. An Exorcist tells his story and An Exorcist more stories here. With Crowe portraying the leading character of Father Amorth, the storyline follows a young American boy who gets possessed post-moving with his mother and sister to an extensive abbey in rural Spain. No points for guessing that it is up to Amorth to rescue the young boy, which ultimately leads him and his assistant to unravel the centuries-old conspiracy that the Vatican has gravely attempted to keep buried. The exceedingly well-designed, skull-laden catacombs on display are bound to send shivers down your spine. But then again, that's just one of the many selling points of the movie. Joining Crowe is a solid cast that includes Alexandra Aso, Daniel Zavato Blanco, Franco Nero, Laurel Marsden, Cornell S. John, and Peter De Souza Fioni. FYI, The Pope's Exorcist has just released, and we highly recommend fans of the genre to go watch the movie right away and come share your experience with us in the comments section. Evil Dead Rise, 21st of April. All you excited gore hounds, things are about to get groovy once again. Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rise, one that serves as the fifth installment to the most iconic and beloved horror franchise, is all set to hit the theaters. Distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures, this supernatural horror flick here has sisters Beth and Ellie reuniting with the former pace the latter a long overdue visit in her apartment in Los Angeles. However, their reunion takes a horrifyingly dark turn post the discovery of the dreaded Necronomicon within the building. Fair to say, all hell breaks loose when the evil book unleashes the flesh-possessing deadites to wreak unthinkable havoc. Evil Dead Rise categorically happens to be one of the biggest horror movies releasing this year, and when you have the titans of horror, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, serving themselves as the executive producers of the movie, there's no denying that the film is bound to knock your socks off. In fact, as per reports, about 1,720 gallons of fake blood have been used for the flick, which stars Lily Sullivan and Elisa Sutherland in the leading roles. The film promises to deliver gore at its best, and judging by the trailer that we have at hand, we are stressing on scalps getting ripped from heads, shards of glass getting swallowed, let's not forget severed limbs, and copious amounts of arterial sprays on display. It surely looks like we're headed towards the right direction. We suggest you book your tickets at the nearest theater and gear yourself up to get the crap scared out of you. Clock, 28th of April. Alexis Jacnow's feature film debut, Clocks, starring Diana Agron, Laura Harden, Jay Alley, and Saul Rubinek, primarily deals with pregnancy horror, the likes of which we're pretty sure haven't really been on display yet. Imagine pregnancy horror in the most unique way possible, and just when you think you're close to it, the multidisciplinary storyteller Jacnow will delve you into a territory you just did not see coming. This psychological horror thriller here revolves around Ella, a married, successful designer who does not want to have kids. Ella is seen pretty happy being childless and she enjoys her life the way it is, but the people around her don't seem to be on the same page with her, with them being nagging, constant reminders for her to have a child. A frustrated Ella enrolls herself into a new biotech firm running a clinical trial in an attempt to repair her seemingly broken biological clock, and it is from there that the story takes a 180-degree horror turn. Clock has already had its world premiere at the 2023 Overlook Film Festival and is currently all set for a Hulu release on the 28th of April. We can hardly wait to see how the story unfolds. What about you? Renfield, 14th of April. Based on the characters from Bram Stoker's 1987 celebrated novel Dracula, an original idea from popular comic book writer, screenwriter, and television producer Robert Kirkman, Chris McKay's Renfield is more of a dark comedy than horror, to be precise. The movie has the iconic Nicolas Cage essaying the role of Count Dracula and Nicholas Hoult portraying the titular character, or in other words, the long-suffering and faithful servant of Dracula. For centuries, Renfield has been serving his ill-tempered and narcissistic master, tending to all his needs. Of course, the story takes a turn when Renfield finds himself falling in love with a traffic cop, Rebecca Quincy, in modern-day New Orleans. Now, with Renfield desiring a normal life with his love interest, he makes up his mind to leave his boss and get away as far as he can from him, but if only the Count was ready to let go of his lackey that easily. Distributed by Universal Pictures, the movie already has an R rating, so expect a lot of gore, profanity, and copious amounts of offbeat humor. Packed with a stellar cast which also includes Awkwafina and Ben Schwartz amongst others, and a rich Dracula lore to draw inspiration from, you know for a fact that you will be entertained. We are eagerly waiting for Renfield to hit the theaters on the 14th of April. Salem's Lot, 21st of April. Penned and directed by Gary Doberman, Salem's Lot happens to be the third adaptation of Stephen King's 1975 classic horror novel, also titled of the same, and fans of both the writer and the genre could not be more happier that the supernatural horror flick is finally scheduled for a theatrical release. After months and months of post-production delays, the film, featuring an all-star cast, has Lewis Pullman playing the role of author Ben Mears, and those of you who are familiar with the novel will find that the movie's plot is pretty faithful to its source material. The flick has Mears returning to his hometown in Jerusalem's Lot, hoping to seek inspiration for his next novel. While Mears finds inspiration in the form of an abandoned mansion, one that has haunted him since he was a child, he eventually discovers the presence of a vampire busy transforming the townsfolk into the dreadful creatures of the night. Of course, this has Mears gearing himself up to protect his hometown, and he ends up joining forces with a ragtag group determined to put an end to the vampire menace. Salem's Lot, which is finally scheduled to release on April 21st, has Mackenzie Lay, Alfie Woodard, Bill Camp, William Sadler, and Pillow Asbach, amongst others, joining Pullman in the star-studded cast. From Black, 28th of April. Directed by Thomas Marchese and co-written by Jessup Flower and Marchese himself, Shudder's next exclusive has a mother who holds herself accountable for the disappearance of her young son, given a rather bizarre offer to learn the truth about what had really happened and set things right. But of course, there's a catch. There always is. All of this comes at a terrifying price, and the question remains, how far is the mother willing to go to see her son again? From what we've gathered, From Black happens to be a rather significant shift from reality into structured horror. It is a movie that will begin as something and then end up being something absolutely different, thanks to the involvement of the supernatural element. Slated to release on the 28th of April, the flick has Anna Camp in the leading role and also stars Jennifer Love Fleur, Richie Montgomery, Travis Hammer, and John Ailes. The Tank, 21st of April. Do you fancy creature features? Honestly, who doesn't? It's pretty sad to see so less of them these days, and that brings us to Scott Walker's upcoming Monster movie, which has horror, suspense, and gore as its primary elements. There is this saying that states some secrets should never surface, and that's precisely what Walker's The Tank is based on. The film is set in the 70s and follows a family who inherits an abandoned coastal property from the husband's recently deceased mother. Everything seems perfect in the beginning, but the discovery of a strange buried water tank takes the flick to a relishing creature feature setup, especially after the husband makes up his mind to repair the water tank, oblivious to the fact that there lurks a dormant creature who is exceedingly protective of its environment. When you have the celebrated Richard Taylor behind the creature effects, the result of which happens to be a nasty-looking, slimy creature and a story boasting such an interesting premise, you know it has the potential to make for a great film. The Tank, which is written, directed, as well well as produced by Walker, is all set for a selected theatrical release on the 21st of April and stars Matt Wellen, Lucien Buchanan, Zara Nussbaum, Holly Shervey, Jack Barry, and Regina Hageman, amongst others. Beau is Afraid, 14th of April. When you have a movie that is written, directed, as well as produced by Ari Aster, the mind behind the 2018 Hereditary and the 2019 Midsommar, you just know for a fact that you cannot take this one lightly. Distributed by A24, Aster's latest mind-bender, Beau is Afraid has Joaquin Phoenix playing the titular role. The character of Beau happens to be a man plagued with anxiety who has had quite a difficult relationship with his overbearing mother. After the sudden demise of his mother, Beau is seen coming face to face with his darkest fears as he embarks on an epic, surreal journey back home. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Aster's work, will know that the filmmaker is primarily known for delving into the aftermath of personal loss, especially focusing on how the individuals first opt to deal with it and then undergo the process of finding closure. Looking at Aster's Beau is Afraid, there's no denying that the trailer is filled with surrealist allegories and add to these shocking imageries as well. The movie boasts an ensemble cast that has Patti LuPone, Nathan Lane, Amy Ryan, Zoe Lister-Jones, and Stephen McKinley Henderson, amongst others, joining Phoenix. It's only fitting to say that one should be prepared to expect the unexpected when this surrealist black comedy horror flick finally hits the theaters. The Black Demon, 28th of April. With a tagline that states, "Nature bites back," director Adrian Grunberg is determined to keep his audience at the edge of their seats with his upcoming horror thriller. The highlight of which happens to be a rancorous megalodon shark. Co-written by Carlos Sisco and voices Kira, the storyline has oilman Paul Sturgis' idyllic family vacay turning into a living nightmare when they get stranded on a rig that Paul had come to inspect. That's where they encounter the bloodthirsty black demon shark that's hell-bent on sinking its teeth into anything that invades its property. Now it is up to Paul to protect his family from becoming the monster shark's meal and bring them back to the shore safe and alive. But who will win this ultimate battle between the humans and nature will be revealed when the movie theatrically releases on the 28th of April. The cast includes Josh Lucas, Fernanda Urijola, Julio Cesar Cedillo, Venus Ariel, and Hector Jimenez, amongst others. We don't know about you, but we can hardly hold our excitement for The Black Demon. Nefarious, 14th of April. Believe us when we tell you that Chuck Konzelman and Carrie Solomon's Nefarious actually have the potential to become one of the best movies to be releasing in 2023. The film, which basically serves as a prequel to Steve Deace's 2016 novel titled A Nefarious Plot and his 2020 novel titled A Nefarious Carol, promises to make its audience question their understanding with its mind-blowing concept. As per the storyline, Nefarious centers around the psychiatrist Dr. James Martin, who comes across a rather bizarre case of a convicted serial killer claiming that a demon has taken control of him. While it is initially believed that the killer is a master manipulator who is faking his psychological condition to avoid execution, his actions end up shaking up the whole prison, making everybody rethink what he really is up to. While actors Sean Patrick Flannery and Jordan Belfi are seen in the leading roles, they're joined by Tom Omer, Eric Hansen, Robert Peters, Sarah Hernandez, Cameron Arnett, and John Cann, amongst others. Boasting equal amounts of suspense and thrill in a very well-crafted story, Nefarious conclusively happens to be one of the most anticipated movies to hit the theaters. Marvelous verdict. Well, with this, we finally come to the end of our video here. These are our top 10 horror movies releasing this month that we're very, very excited about. We sincerely urge all the fans out there to watch these flicks and share your experience with us in the comments section. Also, stay tuned with us as we promise to come back with more exciting content.